An unexpected beginning. When we think about the relationship between the United States and Japan, many recall World War II or today's military ties. But the story begins much earlier, in the 19th century, when Commodore Matthew Perry's ships appeared in Edo Bay in 1853. Japan had been closed to the world for centuries, and that arrival marked a turning point. From that moment, diplomats, merchants, and advisors, many of them American, began to arrive. They were pioneers who encountered a mysterious country with entirely different customs and who gradually learned to coexist and exchange knowledge. This first stage left deep marks and opened a path that thousands of citizens would follow in the centuries to come. Modernization and the first residents. With the Meiji Restoration in 1868, Japan embarked on a process of rapid modernization. To achieve it, it needed foreign experts. American engineers, doctors, and educators were invited to help transform the country. Some names remain in history, such as Edwin Dunn, who promoted agricultural development in Hokkaido, or American doctors who introduced new public health techniques. For the Japanese of that time, these foreigners were curious and sometimes contradictory figures, carriers of progress, but also representatives of a culturally alien world. Thus, the first Americans living in Japan became bridges between two worlds, leaving a legacy still felt today. Treaties, business, and diplomacy. As the 19th century progressed, relations were formalized through treaties and trade agreements. The United States became a key partner for Japan, and Americans began to settle in cities like Yokohama and Kobe, which turned into hubs of exchange. Over time, this presence was organized into institutions: the American Chamber of Commerce in Japan, the America-Japan Society in Tokyo, and more recently, the U.S.-Japan Council. These organizations not only promote commerce, they also create spaces for cultural dialogue and academic collaboration. The American community in Japan was never just about business. It also sought ways to integrate and build lasting relationships. Where do Americans live in Japan? Today, the American community in Japan is large and diverse. It is estimated that tens of thousands of U.S. citizens reside in the country, concentrated mainly in Tokyo and major urban areas like Osaka and Nagoya. Yet not all live in big cities. Some choose quieter areas, seeking a different life close to nature or in smaller local communities. Reasons for being in Japan vary: corporate executives, English teachers, military personnel stationed at joint bases, researchers, artists, mixed families, and even retirees who decide to spend their later years in a different environment. In reality, the geography of the American community is a map of personal stories. Everyday life, between adaptation and nostalgia. Living in Japan as an American can be as fascinating as it is challenging. On one hand, life in a safe country with efficient transportation and a rich culture is attractive. On the other, the language barrier, the rigidity of certain social rules, and the distance from family in the U.S. can be difficult. Many say that at first they experience strong culture shock, from the way neighbors interact to unwritten everyday rules like sorting garbage or keeping noise down at home. Over time, they learn to balance their identity. Some keep American traditions at home while adopting Japanese habits in public. That duality is part of the foreign experience in Japan. A community that celebrates and connects. Despite challenges, the American community has found ways to organize itself. In Tokyo, for example, Independence Day is celebrated each year with gatherings, food, and music. There are book clubs, sports associations, and social networks that keep expatriates connected. Platforms like Internations or Facebook groups allow newcomers to find advice and support. Cultural events are also common: jazz concerts, art exhibitions, food fairs. These spaces are vital, not only to maintain ties with their own culture, but also to share it with Japanese people and with other foreign communities living in the country. Entrepreneurs, employees, and innovators. The economic weight of Americans in Japan is considerable. Many U.S. corporations have offices in Tokyo and Osaka, and thousands of professionals work in technology, finance, entertainment, and education. The American Chamber of Commerce is a major player in fostering bilateral business. But beyond big companies, there are also individual entrepreneurs, people who open restaurants, consultancies, language schools, or import shops. These small businesses not only support their owners, but also enrich the cultural and economic life of their neighborhoods, showing the diversity of the American presence. Education and knowledge exchange. Education is one of the main areas where Americans play a role. Many work as English teachers in schools, private academies, or universities. Others participate in exchange programs between Japanese and U.S. institutions. Families with children often enroll them in international schools, where English is the main language and the curriculum follows American or international standards. These schools not only maintain educational ties with the U.S., but also create multicultural environments where children of different nationalities grow and learn together. In this way, the American community helps Japan remain open to global learning. Present challenges and future horizons. The life of an American in Japan is not always easy. Although Japan is safe and welcoming, it remains a fairly homogeneous society where foreigners may feel watched or set apart. Bureaucratic issues also exist: visas, strict labor rules, cultural differences that cause frustrations. Yet the future points toward greater integration. Japan, facing its aging population, needs foreign talent, and Americans have shown resilience in adapting. Cooperation between the two countries is strengthening in areas such as security, technology, and culture. All this suggests that the American community will continue to grow and diversify in the coming decades. Final reflection. The American community in Japan is a mosaic of stories: 19th century pioneers, families raising children in Tokyo today, young people teaching English in rural prefectures, entrepreneurs building commercial bridges, and retirees finding peace in a different environment. It is not just about numbers or treaties, it is about people who build a human bridge between two distinct but complementary cultures. The presence of Americans in Japan is not just another chapter of bilateral relations. It is proof that in a globalized world, communities intertwine and learn from each other. And perhaps most interestingly, this story is still being written.